Have you ever wanted your drawings to look fine? Then you're in the right video. Today, I will be dropping the juiciest art tips that will make your art go from meh to chef's kiss. And as for your extremely professional artist guide, I shall now be sharing tips and tricks and my top secret drawing techniques with everybody. That somewhat makes my art so appealing to people. But wait a second, I shouldn't be sharing my art secrets to a whole audience, because they remain with me. Ow! Who the hell threw an apple at me? You're gonna pay for that! Okay then, fine. I will be sharing at least 3 art secrets, but the rest will be remained in the vault unheard and untouched. Now let's begin this video before more objects fly at my face again. Alrighty, welcome back to another video. Today, we will get started on shading and tonal studies, which is our first topic for today. Bear in mind that a lot of people struggle with this, but I will try and make it as simple as I can. Alright, let's talk about shading. This is where your drawing decides whether it wants to look majestic or a masterpiece or flat as a pancake. When you shade, you're not just scribbling in the dark parts, you're sculpting it with, I don't know, graphite or whatever brush that you use, and you're deciding where the light lives. Oh, and one thing I mentioned to many people is that it requires constant practice and patience. Now here are the key parts of shading that you gotta know. First of all, you always got your light source. The highlight is the brightest area where the light, or the sun, hits directly on. Then you got your middle tone, where the smooth transition is between light and the shadow. Then you got your primary shadow and your cast shadow, which the shadow and the object places on the surface between it. And lastly, you have your reflected or bounce light, which simply means light bouncing back from the surface, creating a subtitle glow emission on the shadowed side. If you look at an example piece of one of my previous artworks, you can see that the light is coming from the floor, which bounces up to the clothing and the quills. Oh, and I recommend learning color theory as well, as it can be very helpful for your art. Moving on to the next topic, shapes and anatomy. This is pretty easy to learn actually, but please pay close attention. Let's have a look at some sketches which I recently produced, and let's look at this specifically. You can see that I used shapes to construct this fox head. I wanted to also say that you should understand your character's basic construction and anatomy, the shapes that comprise it, and how they relate to each other. This helps get a better understanding on how you can fix your proportions and angles of the character, expressions, you name it. So as you can see, shapes become very much easier to interpret and manipulate when it's broken down into simple shapes such as spheres or cones or any sort of shape. So now I am going to be demoing on drawing a hand using the basic shapes that I just mentioned before, and we are starting off with drawing a square thingy, and then I think we'll add that. Okay, that looks like a distorted trapezoid, but oh well. It doesn't matter because this is all rough anyway. So the main thing is when you're sketching out like this, it's all about being loose, and there isn't any need for perfectionism. Like, you're just gonna go with it, I guess. So yeah, like I said, as long as you split everything into simple shapes and, you know, you get the gist of it, it makes life a lot more easier because you don't have to overthink and make things complex for yourself. Okay, just gotta finish the fun. Yeah, alright, there we go. All done. The hand with just a few squares and rectangles and all, and it's built up to this. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, theys and thems, that is how you use shapes to precisely draw something. Moving on to human bodies and anatomy. You should learn to draw basic parts of humans such as bones, muscles, and while doing that, make sure to examine so that you can be sure of what poses you want to be making. It is a very painful process, by the way. Yeah. But there's no need to panic. If your drawing software has any human build references, then please, please use them as an implementation to help you guide where to place your shapes and parts. I am talking specifically to you beginners because trust me, this will save your life. I am telling you this right now. If you want to go with even more of a challenge, then you can try to draw without a reference. You know, it's always good to challenge yourself every once in a while. It can be a solid way of improving, and you can use the tips that I told you a few minutes ago of turning complex things into small fragmented shapes which can simplify everything. Now, the last thing I'm going to be talking about in this video is proportions and perspective, an essential key thing to art. I struggle with proportions a lot myself. With my experience on art, you can see here that I'm measuring Shadow's head and body, and it seems as if I made his eyes and muzzle, or in general his whole face, a little too big, when I was intending to make the quills look a bit more bigger. Another error that you can see is that his front leg he's stepping on seems to be on the side rather than actually forward, but that's okay. I mean, it's completely understandable that rotating a character can feel challenging. We're illustrating a form that is inherently three-dimensional, yet we're doing it on a two-dimensional surface, so our brains have to interpret depth, volume, and orientation using only lines and shapes. Oh, and if you're doing this traditionally, to check proportions, focus on how each part relates to others. Compare sizes, check spacing, and use light guides to keep everything balanced. You can use your pencil or imagine an object in simple sections. Then the proportions are correct, and the whole drawing feels stable and realistic. So without a structural framework or construction method to guide us, it becomes difficult to accurately visualize how that form moves and turns through space. Using basic shapes and proportional guides gives us a clearer understanding of the character's spatial presence, allowing us to draw them constantly from any angle. When we look at this landscape, it may seem complex at first, but once we break it down, the structure becomes much more easier to understand. The first thing to identify is the horizon line. This represents the view's eye level and divides the sky from the ground. Next, we locate the vanishing point, or points. All parallel points in the environment will converge towards these points as they recede into the distance. And that is everything about proportions and perspectives. And in general, everything that I had to say, really. I hope you guys liked the video. I know that there was a ton of people that wanted this video to be made, and finally I had the chance to make it, so, yeah, you're welcome. The whole purpose of this video was to also just make people want to go away feeling more confident and improve their art, and feel good about it, because I mean, everybody deserves to feel good about the art that they made. But the problem is that so many people seem to downgrade their art nowadays, and it puts me down because, I mean, I know you can't help it, but don't forget that comparison's the thief of joy, and you shouldn't be comparing your work to other people. So yeah, that is your takeaway for the day, and keep in mind that not everybody is perfect in the work that they make. So yeah, I guess that's all. There will hopefully be more videos to be made soon because my schedule is monthly at the moment, so I'm hoping that I'll maybe perhaps get another video done before the end of the year, but that's gonna be for the future to decide. As for now, take very, very good care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys in the next video.